We're going to end on our breaking news in Shelby County in a minute, but we want to give you the latest out of Afghanistan this morning. U.S. troops are going to stay there until all Americans are evacuated. President Biden made that announcement yesterday, saying troops are going to stay beyond that August 31st deadline if they have to, in order to protect, again, Americans and evacuees. One Hoosier who has massive knowledge on a lot of this, on Afghanistan, the Taliban, what is happening right now. The man put in charge of the FBI's counterterrorism program after the 9/11 attacks is John Pistole. He was also the head of the TSA under then President Obama. Later, he is the current president of Anderson University. He joins us on the phone this morning because we're having some technical difficulties. President, good morning to you. We only have a couple of minutes, but I want to jump right in. And with what you're actually seeing and hearing about everything that's going on in Afghanistan right now and trying to get Americans out and some of the Afghanistan folks, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, thank you, Angela.
Yeah.
I think part of it, one of the key issues is how does the Taliban takeover affect U.S. national security here in the homeland? And so you have the prospect of either fighting a forever war, as some people refer to it, we've been there 20 years almost, or do we withdraw, as President Biden has ordered, and then see what the Taliban is doing? Is that just in Afghanistan, or are there ramifications for potential terrorist attacks similar to when the Taliban provided a safe harbor for Osama bin Laden prior to the 9/11 attack? So I think that's all part of the calculus that the U.S. government and allies have been discussing and moving forward on.
Do you have any praise or anything on the other side to say, hey, this is what is concerning about what you're seeing, maybe some of your knowledge? I mean, you were, in charge at one point.
Well, right, and it really comes down to the continuum of what are the ramifications of a complete withdrawal of U.S. And allied forces versus complete control by the Taliban. And can you take them at their word? Probably not, in terms of what they are trying to do, not in terms of democracy, of course, because that's never going to be the case in the same sense with Taliban. So it really comes down to what is in the best interest of the U.S. national security as it relates to a country halfway around the world that we've lost over 2,000 service members, U.S., and over 20,000 seriously wounded. So there's such a wide range of views on it. I think it really comes down to, are we safer or not here in the U.S. with this move?
Now, one of the biggest criticisms is that we didn't get out Americans before, or more Afghanis before. Others, like President Biden last night, saying, there's nothing that I could have done differently because whenever we're going to start pulling people out, this is going to happen. Do you think that what we're seeing was inevitable?
Well, I think how quickly the Taliban took over was a surprise, if not a shock, to most career professionals and others in the business. But whatever that timing was, it seems like more could have been done in terms of the planning for that to get U.S. personnel out, perhaps with the hope that there would have been some type of nominal government that would stay in place at least for months, if not a longer term, perhaps in conjunction with the Taliban. But obviously that didn't happen, and so it has accelerated those evacuation plans immensely and created huge logistical and personal challenges and problems.
We are out of time, but President Pistole, so good.